Under the fading glow of the evening sun, Officer James Miller noticed a black SUV rolling through an intersection in Reston, Virginia, its tail light broken. What seemed like a routine traffic stop quickly turned into something far more complex. When Officer Miller approached the driver's window, he found a composed woman named Nina Harper sitting calmly behind the tinted glass. She handed over credentials that bore a federal seal, but they were unlike any James had seen in his decade on the force. Despite her calm insistence on the authenticity of her ID, his suspicion grew, prompting him to call for backup. When backup arrived, Nina was handcuffed as officers attempted to verify her identity. Passers-by stopped to record the arrest, while Nina remained unfazed, even revealing a discreet earpiece and a smartwatch that whispered silent commands. Just as tension peaked, two black SUVs arrived with men identifying themselves as agents from the Federal Protective Service. They swiftly demanded her release, confirming Nina's status as a covert federal agent on a critical undercover mission. The encounter exposed the thin line between routine police work and national security, shaking the office's assumptions and revealing the complexities hidden beneath everyday stops. Officer Miller was left grappling with the reality that not every situation is what it seems. And sometimes the calmest people carry the heaviest burdens, moving silently to protect the country from threats unseen. Under the dimming light of dusk in Reston, Virginia, Officer James Miller's routine patrol took an unexpected turn. He had spotted a black SUV cruising near a busy intersection with a broken tail light, a minor infraction he assumed would result in nothing more than a warning. But when he approached the driver's window and met the calm, composed gaze of Nina Harper, a woman in her late 30s with chin-length box braids and dressed sharply in a dark blazer, something about the encounter felt off. When Nina handed over a small leather wallet containing an official-looking ID embossed with a federal seal and a series of unfamiliar codes, James hesitated. Despite his 10 years on the force and extensive training, this identification did not match any agency he recognized. No Homeland Security, no FBI, no Secret Service. When pressed, Nina stated calmly that she couldn't disclose the agency she worked for. Her measured tone, lack of nervousness, and refusal to divulge details unsettled James. Unable to verify her identity through standard channels, he called for backup. The arrival of two rookie officers brought tension to the scene. Without further proof, they handcuffed Nina, despite her protests and composed demeanor. Bystanders gathered, some filming, whispering their disbelief at what seemed like an overreach for a broken tail light. Yet, beneath the surface, Nina exuded a quiet strength. Her subtle earpiece and smartwatch hinted at a high level of preparedness, the calmness of someone accustomed to navigating dangerous situations. Suddenly, the screech of tires heralded the arrival of two black SUVs, from which men in suits emerged with badges identifying them as Federal Protective Service agents. They asserted authority and demanded Nina's immediate release, warning of severe consequences if she remained detained. James Miller's initial suspicion melted into uneasy realization. Nina was no ordinary driver but a covert federal agent on a sensitive undercover mission. This encounter exposed the fragile boundary between local law enforcement and national security operations, revealing how appearances can be deceiving and how critical it is to understand the stories behind the badges. For James and those watching, the incident underscored a vital truth. Sometimes, beneath the most ordinary moments lie complexities and risks that demand respect, caution, and above all, an openness to seeing beyond the surface. The tense roadside encounter in Reston, Virginia, between Officer James Miller and Nina Harper unfolded slowly, each moment layered with silent tension and unspoken questions. When James first approached Nina's black SUV for a simple broken tail light, he expected a quick resolution, a warning or a citation and then back on patrol. But Nina's calm demeanor, unwavering eye contact, and the federal credentials she produced gave him pause. They weren't the usual badges he'd seen from Homeland Security or the FBI. and the unfamiliar agency name she withheld only deepened his suspicion. Calling for backup was a necessary step, but as the rookie officers arrived and placed handcuffs on Nina, the scene began to attract a crowd. Passers-by pulled out their phones, capturing footage of a composed woman in cuffs, a stark contrast to the nervous suspects usually seen in such situations. Nina's quiet strength was evident, her subtle earpiece and smartwatch, the way she whispered instructions inaudible to others, and her refusal to escalate the confrontation all spoke of someone trained for high-stakes encounters. The arrival of two black SUVs carrying men who identified themselves as Federal Protective Service agents quickly turned the situation upside down. Their assertive demand to release Nina, combined with their official badges and confident demeanor, shattered the office's initial assumptions. Officer Miller was confronted with the realization that Nina Harper was a covert federal agent deeply embedded in an undercover mission, a fact that redefined the entire encounter. Yet the incident was more than a case of mistaken identity. It revealed cracks within the very system meant to protect. Nina later disclosed that the stop was no accident but a carefully orchestrated trap. Someone inside the police department had leaked her route to hostile operatives, compromising the mission and endangering lives. This betrayal within law enforcement added a chilling layer to an already fraught situation. As the night unfolded, Nina's professionalism and resolve never wavered. Back at the precinct, she quietly began an internal audit, uncovering corruption, compromised officials, and an intricate web of espionage involving city planners and rogue operatives. Officer Miller, initially overwhelmed by the complexity, grew to respect her unwavering commitment and the hidden dangers that come with serving in the shadows. This roadside stop was a stark reminder that beneath everyday moments, like a broken tail light and a traffic stop, lie layers of unseen threats, covert operations, and human courage, for James and for the witnesses who captured the scene on their phones. It was a lesson in humility, vigilance, and the necessity of looking beyond appearances to grasp the full truth. The incident that unfolded one evening in Reston, Virginia, began as a routine traffic stop but quickly spiraled into a complex situation that challenged the assumptions of local law enforcement and revealed the hidden layers of national security operations. Officer James Miller, seasoned but cautious, had pulled over a sleek black SUV with a broken tail light, expecting a simple warning. Instead, he encountered Maya Reynolds, a calm and poised woman who presented him with federal credentials that didn't match any agency he recognized. Her refusal to disclose her affiliation only heightened his suspicion, leading to the involvement of backup officers and the decision to place her in handcuffs pending identity verification. As onlookers gathered and began filming, tension mounted, until two black SUVs arrived abruptly, their occupants moving with practiced precision. Men identifying themselves as Federal Protective Service agents demanded Maya's immediate release, declaring that she was under their protection and that continued detention would escalate into a serious federal incident. Officer Miller's perspective shifted dramatically as he realized that Maya was not just a driver caught in a minor traffic stop but a covert federal operative engaged in a sensitive undercover mission. This revelation exposed the fine line between local policing and national security, highlighting the complexities that arise when jurisdiction and protocol intersect with covert operations. Beyond the immediate drama, Maya disclosed that the stop had been a deliberate setup. Someone within the police department had leaked her travel route to hostile parties aiming to intercept her. The betrayal from within local law enforcement underscored the vulnerabilities faced by those working to protect the country from unseen threats. Back at the precinct, Maya's investigation into the breach revealed a network of compromised officials, including a city planner involved in espionage and a former CIA operative turned traitor. Together with Officer Miller, she unraveled a web of deceit, corruption, and danger that stretched far beyond a simple traffic stop. The operation culminated in a tense confrontation within the city's old maintenance tunnels, where Maya and Miller intercepted a transfer of classified data, foiling a plan that could have jeopardized national security. Despite the personal risks and internal opposition, Maya's unwavering commitment to her mission highlighted the sacrifices made by those who serve in the shadows. For Officer Miller, the experience was transformative. He began to approach his duties with greater vigilance and an understanding that beneath the ordinary surface of daily policing lie extraordinary challenges. The Reston incident became a powerful reminder that justice and security require more than appearances, they demand insight, patience, and the courage to question assumptions. It also emphasized the importance of vigilance within the system itself, as threats often come from those who betray their own. In the end, Maya Reynolds' story is one of resilience, courage, and the relentless pursuit of truth in a world where danger hides in plain sight. The evening stop that Officer James Miller made on the outskirts of Reston, Virginia, was supposed to be a routine traffic violation, a broken tail light on a black SUV. Instead, it became the catalyst for uncovering a dangerous web of espionage and betrayal that reached deep into the city's law enforcement and infrastructure. The driver, Clara Bennett, was unlike any suspect James had encountered. Calm, composed, and unfazed by the flashing cameras and the growing crowd, Clara presented a federal identification badge that confounded James and his fellow officers. It was unlike any official credential they recognized, and her refusal to disclose her agency only added to the tension. Backup was called, and Clara was handcuffed, much to the surprise of onlookers who began recording the scene, questioning the necessity of such force. Yet, the quiet strength Clara exuded suggested a lifetime of experience navigating high-stakes situations. When two black SUVs arrived, and agents from the Federal Protective Service stepped out demanding her immediate release, it became clear that Clara was no ordinary driver but a covert federal operative on a mission vital to national security. The situation revealed a shocking betrayal. Someone inside the police department had leaked Clara's route to hostile forces, setting a trap to intercept her. Back at the precinct, Clara began a covert internal investigation, uncovering corruption that implicated trusted officials, including a city planner colluding with foreign operatives and a former CIA agent turned traitor. Together with James, who was forced to confront his own assumptions and expand his understanding of the complexities beneath everyday law enforcement, Clara navigated a labyrinth of surveillance footage, encrypted communications, and shadowy operatives. Their pursuit culminated in a tense midnight confrontation in the city's aging maintenance tunnels, where Clara recovered a critical access key that could have compromised national security. Despite bureaucratic resistance and personal risk, Clara's resolve never wavered, embodying the silent courage of those who fight battles unseen. The ordeal changed James profoundly. He returned to his duties with a heightened sense of vigilance and respect for the unseen forces at play. Clara disappeared into the shadows once more, her identity protected but her impact lasting in the changes sparked by that night. The incident became a powerful lesson on the hidden dangers that can lurk behind the most mundane moments and the importance of questioning assumptions before passing judgment. It reminds us that true bravery and dedication often go unnoticed, carried out by individuals like Clara who live in the margins, defending us all with unwavering resolve. The seemingly routine traffic stop that Officer James Miller initiated on a quiet evening in Reston, Virginia, quickly unraveled into a complex web of espionage, betrayal, and high-stakes covert operations. When James pulled over a black SUV with a broken tail light, the driver, Rachel Bennett, appeared calm and composed, handing over a federal ID that bore a seal and codes unfamiliar to him. Despite his decade of experience, James could not place the agency Rachel claimed to represent, and her refusal to disclose details about her work only deepened his suspicion. Calling for backup, the situation escalated when Rachel was handcuffed amid a crowd of bystanders who began recording the encounter. But Rachel's demeanor never faltered. Her subtle earpiece and smartwatch hinted at a level of preparedness beyond the ordinary, signaling that this was far from a simple traffic stop. The arrival of two black SUVs, filled with agents from the Federal Protective Service, abruptly shifted the scene. They demanded Rachel's immediate release, warning of serious federal implications if she remained detained. The office's doubts were replaced by the stark reality. Rachel was a covert agent on a sensitive assignment, and the stop had inadvertently compromised her mission. As the night unfolded, Rachel revealed that the stop was a calculated setup, a leak from within the police department itself. Someone had betrayed her, feeding her route to hostile operatives lying in wait. Back at the precinct, Rachel's quiet but relentless investigation uncovered a tangled conspiracy involving a city planner acting as a mole and a former CIA operative turned traitor. Working closely with James, who had to confront his own biases and broaden his understanding of the intricate dangers lurking beneath routine police work. They traced the espionage network through surveillance footage, encrypted messages, and shadowy operatives. Their pursuit led them deep into the city's old maintenance tunnels, where they intercepted a transfer of classified materials, an operation that, if successful, could have compromised critical national security assets. Despite facing resistance from within the system and the ever-present risk to their own lives, Rachel's determination never wavered. The experience transformed James's approach to policing. He returned to his duties with a newfound vigilance and appreciation for the unseen battles fought in silence. Meanwhile, Rachel disappeared once again into the shadows of covert operations, her identity protected but her impact undeniable. This incident serves as a stark reminder that beneath the surface of everyday encounters lie hidden threats and that true courage often lives in quiet perseverance. It challenges us all to look beyond assumptions, question what we think we know, and recognize the profound sacrifices made by those who defend us from dangers few will ever see. What began as a routine traffic stop for Officer James Miller quickly morphed into a high-stakes national security crisis, exposing the thin line between everyday law enforcement and covert intelligence operations. When Miller pulled over a black SUV in Reston, Virginia, driven by a composed woman named Rachel Bennett, he could not have anticipated the complex web of espionage and betrayal that lay beneath the surface. Rachel's federal credentials puzzled Miller. They bore a seal and codes unlike anything in his experience, and her refusal to disclose her agency added to the tension. Backup arrived, and despite Rachel's calm demeanor and refusal to resist, she was handcuffed pending identity verification. The arrival of two black SUVs carrying Federal Protective Service agents shattered the ordinary traffic stop scene. These agents demanded her immediate release, warning of grave federal consequences if she remained detained. The revelation that Rachel was a covert operative on an undercover mission rocked the local office's assumptions and underscored the delicate balance between routine policing and national security. More troubling was Rachel's admission that the stop had been orchestrated, a deliberate setup fueled by a mole inside the police department who leaked her route to hostile forces. Back at the precinct, Rachel's investigative instincts took over. She conducted an internal audit, unearthing a deep conspiracy involving compromised officials, including a city planner colluding with foreign operatives and a former CIA agent turned traitor. Working alongside Miller, who had to confront his own biases and expand his understanding of the complexities at play, Rachel pieced together a sophisticated espionage network. Their pursuit led them into the city's neglected maintenance tunnels, where they intercepted a transfer of classified data that threatened national security. Despite facing resistance from within the system and the constant threat of exposure, Rachel's determination never wavered. For Miller, the experience was transformative. He returned to his patrols with a heightened awareness of the unseen dangers lurking in everyday encounters and a commitment to look beyond surface appearances. Rachel disappeared into the shadows once again, her mission intact but her story a poignant reminder of the sacrifices made by those who protect us unseen. This incident reveals how the ordinary can mask the extraordinary and how courage, vigilance, and integrity are essential at every level of law enforcement and intelligence. It urges us to question assumptions, appreciate unseen sacrifices, and recognize that sometimes the greatest battles are fought in silence. in moments that seem routine but hold the weight of national security. The encounter that Officer James Miller had on a quiet evening in Reston, Virginia, would soon evolve from a standard traffic stop into a gripping story of espionage, betrayal, and resilience. When Miller pulled over a black SUV for a broken tail light, the driver, Rachel Bennett, remained unnervingly calm. She handed over federal credentials unfamiliar to Miller, who, despite years on the force, had never seen such identification. Her refusal to disclose her agency only added layers of mystery and suspicion. When backup arrived, Rachel was handcuffed, not for any aggressive behavior, but because her identity could not be immediately verified. Passers-by began filming, turning a simple stop into a public spectacle. Yet, Rachel's composed demeanor, accentuated by a discreet earpiece and a smartwatch emitting silent signals, hinted at a deeper reality. The arrival of two black SUVs with Federal Protective Service agents demanding her release confirmed the suspicion. Rachel was a covert federal agent on a critical mission. The situation was further complicated when Rachel revealed that the stop had been no accident. Someone inside the local police department had leaked her route, putting her operation in jeopardy. This internal betrayal exposed cracks in the very system meant to protect. Back at the precinct, Rachel's investigation uncovered a tangled web of corruption involving a city planner colluding with hostile entities and a former CIA operative turned traitor. With Miller now by her side, the two unraveled the espionage network, tracing encrypted communications and surveillance footage. Their pursuit led them into the city's abandoned maintenance tunnels, where a tense confrontation ensued. Rachel successfully intercepted a classified data transfer critical to national security. Despite threats from hostile operatives, the internal resistance and personal risks did not deter her resolve. Meanwhile, Miller's perspective on law enforcement transformed profoundly. He began to see beyond the routine, recognizing that beneath seemingly mundane moments lie unseen dangers and sacrifices. Rachel disappeared once again into the shadows of covert operations, her mission intact but her story a powerful testament to courage, vigilance, and the complexity of protecting a nation. This incident reminds us that the greatest threats are often hidden in plain sight, and that true bravery comes from the silent, relentless commitment to duty and justice, even when no one is watching. What began as a routine traffic stop on a quiet evening in Reston, Virginia, quickly escalated into a tangled web of espionage and betrayal that exposed the vulnerabilities hidden within local law enforcement and city infrastructure. Officer James Miller, a seasoned patrolman, pulled over a sleek black SUV driven by Clara Bennett, a woman whose calm demeanor and unusual federal credentials immediately raised suspicion. Despite presenting an ID bearing an unfamiliar federal seal, Clara refused to reveal her agency, prompting backup to be called and leading to her being handcuffed pending verification. The gathering crowd began filming, capturing a scene that seemed disproportionate to the minor traffic violation. However, Clara's composed presence, the subtle earpiece behind her ear, and the smartwatch that whispered silent commands hinted at a covert mission far beyond ordinary policing. The arrival of two black SUVs and agents from the Federal Protective Service swiftly transformed the situation, demanding Clara's release and revealing her status as an undercover federal operative. Yet the incident was more than a case of mistaken identity. It was a carefully orchestrated trap. Clara revealed that a mole within the police department had leaked her route to hostile operatives aiming to intercept her. This breach set off a covert investigation that Clara led with meticulous precision, uncovering a network of compromised officials, including a city planner secretly collaborating with foreign agents and a former CIA operative turned traitor. Alongside Miller, whose worldview expanded through the ordeal, Clara traced encrypted communications, surveillance footage, and clandestine meetings. Their pursuit culminated in a midnight operation within the city's aging maintenance tunnels, where Clara intercepted a critical transfer of classified data that could have crippled national security. Despite bureaucratic resistance and constant threats, Clara's unwavering determination foiled the conspiracy and brought key players to justice. Miller returned to his duties forever changed, aware now of the invisible battles fought daily in seemingly mundane moments. Clara vanished back into the shadows of covert operations, her sacrifice unseen but invaluable. This story reveals how the line between ordinary law enforcement and espionage is often razor-thin and underscores the need for vigilance, humility, and respect for the unseen guardians who protect society. It challenges us to question appearances and reminds us that true courage lies in the quiet, relentless pursuit of justice behind the scenes. A simple traffic stop on a quiet evening in Reston, Virginia, quickly revealed a far-reaching conspiracy that threatened not only the city's infrastructure but the nation's security itself. Officer James Miller had pulled over a black SUV driven by Clara Bennett for a broken tail light, an offense that usually required little more than a warning. However, Clara's federal credentials, bearing a seal and codes unfamiliar to Miller, along with her refusal to disclose her agency, set off alarms. Backup was called, and Clara was handcuffed pending verification, while bystanders began filming, turning a routine stop into a public spectacle. The arrival of Federal Protective Service agents demanding her release confirmed that Clara was a covert federal operative engaged in a critical mission. But the traffic stop was no accident. It had been engineered by someone inside the police department who leaked Clara's route to hostile actors. This internal betrayal exposed cracks within the system, making Clara's mission even more perilous. Back at the precinct, Clara launched an internal investigation that uncovered a network of compromised officials, including a city planner, Arthur Bexley, who had access to critical infrastructure and was colluding with foreign operatives. Through surveillance footage and encrypted communications, Clara and Officer Miller traced a freelance operative known only as Asher, who was involved in transferring classified information across the city. Their investigation revealed vulnerabilities within the city's power and communication systems, exploited via a federal contractor company, Thermax Solutions, whose nodes were being used to bypass security protocols. In a daring midnight operation, Clara and Miller descended into the city's Cold War-era maintenance tunnels, confronting hostile operatives and successfully intercepting a critical data transfer. The tension was palpable, with betrayals and threats from within their own ranks, including former CIA operative Chase Lorne, who was arrested for treason. Despite facing bureaucratic resistance, Clara's determination never wavered, and the operation ultimately secured vital national security interests. For Officer Miller, the ordeal reshaped his understanding of the hidden dangers lurking beneath everyday law enforcement tasks and the importance of questioning assumptions. Clara vanished back into the shadows, her story a testament to courage and resilience in the face of unseen threats. The incident serves as a stark reminder that true threats often hide within ordinary systems and that safeguarding security demands vigilance, integrity, and the courage to confront betrayal, even from within. The quiet streets of Reston, Virginia, hid a tension beneath their everyday calm. A tension that Officer James Miller was about to witness firsthand when he stopped a black SUV for a broken tail light. The driver, Evelyn Carter, presented credentials that were unlike anything Miller had ever seen, federal, yet unfamiliar, and cloaked in secrecy. Despite her composed demeanor, the situation escalated as backup arrived and Evelyn was handcuffed for identity verification. What initially seemed like a routine stop rapidly transformed into a complex intersection of local law enforcement and national security when two black SUVs arrived, and agents from the Federal Protective Service demanded Evelyn's immediate release, revealing her role as a covert federal operative. Yet the story only deepened. Evelyn disclosed that the stop was a setup, orchestrated through a leak within the police department that jeopardized her mission and her life. The betrayal was a stark reminder of the vulnerabilities lurking inside institutions meant to protect. As Evelyn delved into an internal audit within the precinct, she uncovered a web of corruption involving a city planner collaborating with foreign agents and a former CIA operative turned traitor. together with Officer Miller, who had to shed his initial assumptions and expand his understanding. They pursued a shadowy network through encrypted communications, surveillance footage, and clandestine meetings. Their investigation led them deep into the city's forgotten maintenance tunnels, relics of the Cold War era, where they faced a dangerous confrontation with hostile operatives during a classified data transfer. Evelyn's quick thinking and steady resolve allowed her to recover a critical access key that could have compromised security across multiple agencies. Despite internal resistance and the ever-present threat of exposure, Evelyn remained unwavering, embodying the silent dedication of those who protect behind the scenes. Officer Miller returned to his duties with a profound shift in perspective, recognizing that beneath ordinary encounters lie extraordinary challenges. Evelyn disappeared once more into the shadows of covert work, her mission ongoing but her impact lasting. This tale illuminates the delicate balance between routine policing and national security, emphasizing the need for vigilance, humility, and the courage to confront betrayal, even from within. It reminds us that the greatest threats often dwell unseen, and the true heroes are those who face them quietly and relentlessly. In the quiet suburbs of Reston, Virginia, a seemingly ordinary traffic stop unraveled into a complex tale of trust, betrayal, and resilience that challenges how we see justice and the people behind it. Officer James Miller's routine patrol came to a halt when he noticed a black SUV with a broken tail light. What should have been a quick warning turned into a tense standoff when the driver, Maya Collins, handed over an unusual federal ID that Miller couldn't immediately verify. Calm and composed, Maya refused to disclose her agency, igniting suspicion that led to her being handcuffed while officers sought backup. As bystanders pulled out their phones to record the scene, tension filled the air, yet Maya remained steady, her quiet confidence betraying years of experience in the shadows. When agents from the Federal Protective Service arrived, demanding her immediate release, the truth became clear. Maya was a covert federal operative on a mission critical to national security. But beneath the surface of this confrontation lay a darker reality. Someone within the police department had leaked Maya's route to hostile operatives, placing her in grave danger. This internal betrayal sparked a covert investigation led by Maya herself, exposing a network of compromised officials and corrupt insiders, including a city planner working with foreign agents and a rogue former CIA operative. Together with Officer Miller, whose assumptions were challenged and transformed, Maya unraveled encrypted communications, surveillance footage, and clandestine meetings that painted a picture of deep-rooted corruption. Their pursuit led them into the city's aging maintenance tunnels, where a confrontation unfolded to stop the transfer of classified data that could have crippled national security. Despite facing opposition from within and threats to her own life, Maya's resolve never wavered. Officer Miller returned to his duties with a newfound vigilance and appreciation for the unseen battles waged daily by those protecting the nation. Maya vanished once again into the shadows, her story a testament to courage, perseverance, and the quiet dignity of those who serve without recognition. The lesson is profound and emotional. Justice is not merely about the laws we enforce but about the people we choose to see and understand beyond their circumstances. It reminds us that assumptions can blind us, and true change begins when we take the time to listen, to question, and to acknowledge the humanity in every encounter. If this story moved you, share it with someone who deserves to be heard. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that reveal the courage and complexity behind the headlines, because sometimes the quietest moments carry the greatest truths. On a seemingly typical evening in Reston, Virginia, Officer James Miller pulled over a black SUV with a broken tail light, anticipating a routine traffic stop that would likely end with a simple warning. However, what unfolded was anything but ordinary. Behind the tinted windows sat Rachel Adams, a woman whose calm demeanor and composed expression contrasted sharply with the tension building around her. When she handed over a federal ID embossed with a seal and codes unfamiliar to Miller, his curiosity and suspicion grew. Despite his decade of experience on the force, he couldn't identify the agency she represented, and her refusal to disclose any details added to the mystery. Backup was called, and the situation escalated as Rachel was handcuffed pending verification. The gathering crowd began recording, turning the stop into a public spectacle that drew attention far beyond the intersection. The calmness Rachel displayed, even as her wrists were restrained, suggested a deep familiarity with high-stress situations, further emphasized by the subtle earpiece and smartwatch she wore, tools that whispered commands inaudible to those around her. The dramatic arrival of two black SUVs, followed by Federal Protective Service agents demanding her immediate release, shattered the illusion of a typical traffic stop. It became clear that Rachel was a covert federal agent on a sensitive mission. Yet the story ran deeper. The stop had been deliberately orchestrated by someone inside the local police department who leaked her route to hostile operatives, jeopardizing her operation and safety. Back at the precinct, Rachel launched an internal investigation, uncovering a tangled web of corruption that involved a city planner secretly collaborating with foreign agents and a former CIA operative turned traitor. Joined by Officer Miller, whose perspective shifted from skepticism to respect, she traced encrypted communications and clandestine meetings, leading them deep into the city's neglected maintenance tunnels. There, in a tense confrontation, they intercepted a classified data transfer that threatened national security. Despite facing internal resistance and mortal danger, Rachel's unwavering dedication prevailed. Officer Miller returned to his duties transformed, now vigilant to the hidden dangers lurking beneath the surface of everyday encounters. Rachel disappeared back into the shadows of covert work, her mission intact but her story a powerful testament to the courage, resilience, and complexity of those who serve unseen. This incident reminds us that behind routine moments lie extraordinary battles, and true bravery often comes in silence, demanding humility, patience, and an openness to question what we think we know. On an ordinary evening in Reston, Virginia, Officer James Miller's routine patrol took an unexpected turn when he noticed a black SUV with a broken tail light. What should have been a simple traffic stop quickly became a tense encounter with Rachel Hayes, a woman whose calm composure and unusual federal identification immediately set her apart. The badge she presented bore seals and codes Miller didn't recognize, and her refusal to disclose her agency only deepened his suspicion. Backup was called, and despite her cooperative demeanor, Rachel was handcuffed pending verification. As bystanders began filming the unfolding scene, the arrival of two black SUVs brought Federal Protective Service agents who demanded her immediate release, revealing that Rachel was a covert federal operative on a critical mission. However, the situation was more than a mere case of mistaken identity. Rachel disclosed that the stop had been orchestrated by a mole within the police department, leaking her route to hostile operatives aiming to intercept her. This betrayal exposed vulnerabilities in the very system designed to protect. At the precinct, Rachel launched a covert internal investigation, uncovering a network of compromised officials, including a city planner colluding with foreign agents and a former CIA operative turned traitor. Alongside Officer Miller, whose perspective shifted from suspicion to respect, she traced encrypted communications, surveillance footage, and clandestine meetings. Their pursuit led them into the city's forgotten maintenance tunnels, relics of the Cold War, where they intercepted a classified data transfer that could have compromised national security. Despite facing bureaucratic resistance and mortal danger, Rachel's unwavering resolve prevailed. Officer Miller returned to his duties transformed, aware now of the invisible battles fought daily in ordinary moments. Rachel disappeared once more into the shadows of covert operations, her story a testament to the courage, perseverance, and complexity of those who serve unseen. This incident challenges us to look beyond assumptions, to understand that true threats often hide in plain sight, and that the real heroes are those who fight quietly to safeguard our security, even when no one is watching. On what appeared to be a routine evening in Reston, Virginia, Officer James Miller pulled over a black SUV for a minor traffic violation, a broken tail light. But the driver, Rachel Owens, was no ordinary motorist. Calm and collected, Rachel presented a federal ID that immediately puzzled Miller. The badge bore an unfamiliar seal and codes. And when he asked about her agency, she declined to answer, maintaining a steady composure that unsettled him. Backup was summoned, and though Rachel offered no resistance, she was handcuffed while officers attempted to verify her identity. A crowd gathered, recording the interaction as it unfolded, a seemingly disproportionate response for a traffic stop. Moments later, 2 black SUVs arrived, and agents from the Federal Protective Service swiftly demanded Rachel's release, revealing her true role as a covert federal operative on a high-stakes mission. Yet the incident was far more than a misunderstanding. Rachel explained that the stop had been orchestrated. A mole within the local police force had leaked her route to hostile actors, putting her and national security at risk. Back at the precinct, Rachel led a covert investigation uncovering a network of compromised officials, including a city planner collaborating with foreign agents and a former CIA operative turned traitor. Working alongside Miller, who wrestled with his own preconceived notions, the two traced encrypted communications and clandestine meetings, ultimately leading to a tense midnight confrontation in the city's forgotten maintenance tunnels. There, Rachel intercepted a classified data transfer that, if successful, could have jeopardized countless lives. Despite bureaucratic obstacles and personal danger, Rachel's unwavering determination ensured the mission's success. Miller emerged from the ordeal changed, more vigilant and attuned to the invisible battles fought in everyday moments. Rachel vanished once more into the shadows of covert work, her story a poignant reminder of courage, sacrifice, and the complexity of safeguarding a nation. This incident challenges us to reconsider assumptions, urging a deeper understanding of justice, not merely as law enforcement but as a profound recognition of the humanity and unseen struggles behind every encounter. It teaches us that real courage often lies in quiet perseverance, and that every person's story deserves to be heard with empathy and respect. Officer James Miller's routine traffic stop on a seemingly quiet evening in Reston, Virginia, unraveled into a gripping tale of deception, betrayal, and covert operations that few would ever imagine beneath the surface of everyday law enforcement. When Miller noticed a black SUV with a broken tail light, he expected a quick warning or a minor citation. Instead, he encountered Rachel Parker, a woman whose calm and composed demeanor, paired with a federal ID bearing an unfamiliar seal and cryptic codes, immediately raised questions. Despite her steady presence, Rachel declined to reveal her agency, fueling suspicion and prompting Miller to call for backup. The situation escalated when she was handcuffed pending verification, a scene recorded by curious onlookers who could hardly grasp the gravity behind the incident. The arrival of 2 black SUVs, bearing agents from the Federal Protective Service, abruptly transformed the encounter. These agents demanded Rachel's immediate release, revealing that she was an undercover federal operative engaged in a sensitive mission crucial to national security. However, the stop was no mere coincidence. Someone within the police department had leaked her route to hostile actors waiting to intercept her. This internal breach of trust shook the foundation of the system meant to safeguard the public. Determined to expose the corruption, Rachel initiated an internal investigation that uncovered a sinister network of compromised officials, including a city planner secretly collaborating with foreign operatives and a rogue former CIA agent turned traitor. Together with Miller, whose perspective shifted dramatically from skepticism to respect, they pieced together encrypted communications and surveillance footage that painted a chilling picture of espionage. Their pursuit led them into the city's abandoned maintenance tunnels, relics of a bygone era, where they confronted hostile operatives during a critical transfer of classified data. Rachel's calm resolve and sharp instincts allowed them to intercept the transfer, preventing a catastrophic breach. Despite facing bureaucratic hurdles and mortal danger, Rachel remained steadfast, embodying the silent courage of those who protect from the shadows. Miller, forever changed, returned to his duties with a heightened awareness of the invisible battles fought daily in the guise of routine stops. Rachel disappeared once more into the covert world, her mission ongoing but her story a powerful testament to vigilance, integrity, and the complexity of justice. This incident serves as a poignant reminder that true threats often hide where least expected, and that courage is found not in grand gestures but in the quiet, relentless pursuit of truth behind the scenes. What started as a simple traffic stop in the quiet streets of Reston, Virginia, soon revealed a complex story about trust, resilience, and the unseen battles fought by those who protect us. Officer James Miller pulled over a black SUV with a broken tail light, expecting the usual routine, a quick warning, a citation, and back on the road. But the driver, Rachel Green, held an identity that went beyond the ordinary, a federal badge embossed with seals and codes unfamiliar to Miller. Despite her calm demeanor, her refusal to explain her affiliation raised suspicions, leading to backup being called and Rachel being handcuffed while her identity was verified. Bystanders watched, some recording, as the tension in the air thickened. The arrival of agents from the Federal Protective Service who demanded her immediate release revealed the truth. Rachel was an undercover federal agent, on a mission vital to national security. Yet, the stop wasn't a coincidence. It was a trap set by a mole within the police department who had leaked her route to hostile forces. This betrayal exposed the fragility within institutions built to protect. Rachel's unwavering resolve led her to expose a network of compromised officials, including a city planner working with foreign agents and a rogue former CIA operative. Together with Officer Miller, who shifted from skepticism to deep respect, they uncovered encrypted communications and surveillance that exposed a dangerous conspiracy. Their pursuit led them into shadowy maintenance tunnels where Rachel intercepted a classified data transfer, preventing a potential disaster. This story is more than just espionage. It is a profound lesson about the cost of assumptions and the power of presence. Too often, we judge people by appearances, by badges, or by what fits into our preconceived notions. Rachel's ordeal reminds us that courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it is the quiet strength to stand steady, the patience to listen before judging, and the determination to protect even when unseen. For Officer Miller, this experience transformed how he approaches his role, not just looking at credentials but truly seeing the person behind them. The real heroes walk unnoticed, battling dangers that never make headlines, and it is our responsibility to remember them with empathy and gratitude. If this story touched you, if it made you rethink how you see those around you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more real stories that highlight the courage, complexity, and humanity behind the headlines, because every story matters, and every voice deserves to be heard.